Well, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just about to do a solo wild camp. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time. It's been a while since I've been able to get out there and do something like this. So I plan to be out there and build a whole natural shelter and do a lot of stuff. So I'm going to be going up some logging roads, and I'm going to drive as deep as I can into the woods on some of those logging roads. And I have a bit of a plan, follow a stream, and basically follow it into the middle of the woods. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to encounter or what the woods is going to be like. And I'm basically going to try to find a suitable area to set up a camp and build an all natural shelter. So I think it's going to be a fun one. I'm super excited to do this. It's been a while and I really want to test my skills. Well, I've made it. I've came to the spot that I want to pursue my solo wild camp. I'm going to leave my truck behind here, and I got my stream up here that I'm going to be following. I'm going to be following it on a northerly direction. I've actually Google Earthed this area, and it seems like the altitude here is 2,500 feet. So I'm fairly high, but not too high. So it's kind of mountainous. I'm going to be following this stream upwards, so away from the ocean, which will make it harder hiking and stuff like that, and the terrain probably won't be as good, but I think I'll be able to find a suitable spot and a really cool spot to do a wild camp out here. The forest is quite damp right now. It feels a little mosquito-y, and I'll just bring you to the stream that I plan on following. You can see it going up this way, obviously going down that way. I'm just gonna try to follow this the best that I can. I might have to walk along the river or in the forest alongside of it. Of huckleberry, the blue variety. This is pretty sweet. You can probably see some of the berries up there. I'm just gonna take out one of my plastic bags and collect a few of these. These guys taste really good. I'm super excited to find some of these. I could get a lot of these guys. Collected a decent handful of them, but I can't waste too much time. Trekking up this stream has been pretty hard work. It's hard with the 30-pound pack and when you're also filming and stuff like that, but it's getting steep and it's becoming more of a gorge. And I don't know if you can tell, but up here it's pretty much at least 20-30 feet up that side, maybe 15-20 feet up that side. Either I can continue to follow the river and hope I can find somewhere flat. Like I could camp here, but it's small and I just don't like the way the wood access and stuff like that is here. I want to build like a really nice shelter, so either I try to plant next to the river or I'm going to have to probably get up here somehow, get up the other side. And to do that, I'm probably going to leave my backpack here and I'm just going to scout up the river to see what's up ahead. And then I might just climb up either side of these just to see what surroundings are around me. I'm just going to throw my scout survival kit on my belt too and just keep it light because it's hard walking along this river with a backpack and stuff. I've come across two different species of berries here. One is over here and one is over here, and they're definitely two different variety of plants. You can tell by the leaves and the way that the berries drop. I don't know what these are exactly. I think this one might be Devil's Club. I'm just guessing. And this one, I'm not entirely sure. I forgot to bring my ID book, which probably would tell me what these guys are. If any of you guys know, just give me drop a comment. So this is a truly gorgeous place. I mean, that water hole down there, it's big. You could definitely swim in there. I actually see little fish. Surprisingly, I'm so shocked that there's fish in there. So maybe I'll test out my little survival fishing kit, but they seem pretty small and minnowy, but you know what? It might be fun just to try. Well, I got snagged about 10 casts in, and I ended up losing my line. So that's how fishing goes. The problem with this site is that I pretty much have 40-50 feet of sheer rock either side of me. I'm sorry if the water is bugging out the audio a bit, but it's not an ideal place to set up a camp. There's not enough wood. There's some ground cover that I could do stuff with. On top of that, it feels a little mosquito-y here. But this is definitely a really cool spot to just come and hang out. So if I can find a camp up one of these sides on either side of this this stream, that would be ideal. So I'm gonna have to go and scout and look for that. I'm gonna be scrambling up there. Well, that sucked. This is incredibly dense, claustrophobic feeling up here. The huckleberry is overgrown, and the shrubs are waist height or something like that, so it's quite hard to navigate through this area. It's a workable area for sure. Not ideal. There is a lot of ground cover and there's a few spots, but it seems like the elevation here is just continuing. There's a few flat spots, but the elevation's definitely continuing. And when I looked on Google Earth, it said this side had an elevation of about, range difference from like 500 feet or something. So I just wanted to take a look, and I definitely think I'm going to have to look on the other side. Well, this side of the forest has a completely different feel to it. I mean, it's not so dense. There's literally, I don't see any ground cover here. There's no huckleberries. There's no ferns. There's nothing. But it's all conifer trees. I see cedar. I see Douglas fir. I might even see some grand fir and some hemlock. But it's hard to tell because I can't see the needles. It's relatively flat, which is very important. And the amount of wood access that I have here is substantial. It's insane. There's tons of dead standing wood. There's tons of blown over trees, which can be hazardous as well. But I have lots of wood to work with to make a natural shelter here. I think I'm going to find a spot here. So I'm actually quite gassed out from walking around, going up and down these gullies and stuff like that. So I really like this spot next to the river where I left my backpack, and I'm just going to decide to have some coffee and make a little bit of a fire and just relax, plan out what I'm going to do and just kind of breathe in the scenery, breathe in the fresh air, feel the solitude out here for a bit. So I have a backup camera to film with because I'm using my cell phone and I don't have much space on my cell phone. So I have my backup camera, sadly, only shoots in 480p. So for the guys that are going to be watching the extended version, some of it's going to be shot in 480p. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it's going to be. And I want to show you guys what I'm actually doing out here too. So instead of just talking and then doing things and then showing you afterwards. So from here, I'm going to start shooting with the crappy camera, just processing up some wood and getting my fire going and cooking up some coffee and stuff. So I sawed through this piece just to see if it was dry on the inside. It's dry, it's hard. I'm not really sure if it might be from a cedar tree or something. I'm not entirely sure on the wood right now, but regardless, the wood is dry on the inside, which is the most important thing. So I'm going to take this whole piece, saw it off at the bottom here, and then I'm going to process this up with my axe. So I've just sawed through it enough to weaken it. So I just kind of broke up that piece of wood, nice and solid, nice and dense, into some more manageable pieces here. And all I'm going to do is take my axe and process this up. So you take a nice chunk, make sure you have a nice solid log to work on, and you kind of just start splitting it like this. If it doesn't split, a few extra ones should do it. This wood's a little knotted and gnarled, but it'll work. And I'm just going to make it into manageable pieces so I can get a fire going and an ember going. I don't need nice big pieces for that. Use the weight of the axe as much as you can. Lift it high, bring it down. Lift it high, bring it down. Watch your thumb though, because you can pinch your thumb. Just continue to work it. And kind of throw the wood down with your axe. This might be a hard split here. It's okay. This one's here is all knotted and gnarled. I'm going to try to split it on this end, see what happens. Almost. Go on the other side where your crack started. There you go. I'm going to move on to more finer stuff. Use some of this as a baseboard. So now I'm going to move on and start splitting some of this up with my knife. I need to get some really small pieces for this to be able to work. So I'll just separate the piles. Try to make some really small, light pieces. Things like this I can split down even more. And get some smaller little kindling there. I have a knee pad to work on, and it's incredibly helpful to have a knee pad to work on, especially when you're doing this stuff. When it's all rock around you, it saves you so much to have a knee pad. Oh, there's a nice piece of wood down there. So I'm just going to continue doing some knife splitting here. So I got some of my wood processed up here. All I'm going to do now make some shavings with my knife and my axe, and maybe break down some of these into some smaller, really small pieces that are going to light. I'm going to be using fat wood to help me with this process. Okay, so now I'm ready to make my fire. I got some shavings of fat wood in here. I've made my shaving pile. I got some thinner pieces and variety of pieces around me. So all I'm going to do is use my striker because I like it using my striker more than my knife. I'm going to ignite this fat wood. Take my tinder, my shavings, put it over top. Next onto pencil size wood. Throw more shavings on there. Give it a bit of help. So if you set up your mug kind of like how I am, I have a little stick here that I can latch onto my bale like that, and it's just got a notch in it, so it's just makes it a lot easier to bring it out of the fire. This way you have to be careful because you don't want your cup of water to spill in and totally destroy your fire that you just spent time making, right? It's really nice to just sit and relax and enjoy the scenery, especially after running around up and down these gorges and stuff. Legs are kind of tired, and you know, it's really nice to just sit and have some coffee and just sit by this fire. It's gotten rid of all the mosquitoes and stuff, which is really good. I just had to break into some wood because things are damp, but the forest feels like it's drying out. It almost looks a little misty, and I'm wondering if I can maybe make a twig fire later on or something like that, but it would be ideal. I actually have a huckleberry bush just up here, so I'm able to supplement a bit of food and not have to break into any of my food right now. I'm just enjoying the peacefulness of this river, this stream, which hopefully hasn't ruined the audio. But this is a really cool spot that I found. I'm really stoked that I found this. This is that hole up there that you could probably swim in that's got fish. That's an awesome little hole there. And I want to build a nice camp, nice shelter over that ridge where I had gone and scouted. There's tons of wood, and I'm sure I can build something really sturdy. I might have to haul a lot of because there's no ferns or anything in that area. There's ferns and the huckleberry around here, so I might have to haul it up to my camp so I can make a nice bed, even though I have a bedroll. And that's pretty much my game plan. It's getting close to noon right now, and I want to start building the shelter. Okay, so I've gone about as far northeast as I would like to go. The river itself is southwest from here. Keeping in mind, I'm checking my compass so I don't get too lost, but it's pretty easy when, I don't know, it's not too hard to keep yourself in a straight line here. It's not as dense as the other side of the ravine was. But where I am right now, I feel a little bit too far from the river. I want to get closer so I can have access to water a lot easier. But I did find up here mossy patches. I also found a few huckleberry bushes and some useful things, but seems like a lot of this area is just blown down trees, deadfall, all coniferous trees. Wow, this is really cool. We got some, I don't know, I'm not good with my mushrooms. I think this is a type of horse hoof. If you guys are good with mushrooms, you can tell me what these are. These fungi. It's either, I don't know if it's false Tinder fungus or not. I don't think it's horse hoof bracket fungus, or it might be. Well, I think this is it, guys. I have a pretty, almost just wider than arm width, so I can lie down. I'll make a bed. Gives me plenty of space to lie down comfortably, but I won't have to get too long of a ridgepole and waste a bunch of space. It'll also make it better heat efficient and stuff like that. These are both live trees here. So I'm going to connect my ridgepole here. I have pretty good flat ground considering the area I am in. This is the best site that I've come across yet. Things to worry about is that I do have a really big dead standing wood here that's solid. So I'm probably going to have to take this down. I really have to eliminate all the dangers around me with my axe and with my saw. But I found two good sized trees to rig my ridgepole. I need to find a really nice sturdy ridgepole that can take a lot of weight because I'm going to be making a lean-to out of poles. I'm not too far away from the river. I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can. And I think I can scavenge some ground cover over there and some ground cover over here to make my bed more comfortable. So this is a big tree, fairly big tree at least. I'm only going to be chopping downwards. I might come in kind of perpendicular, but I'm never coming up like this. Coming up like this, you have a chance of deflecting your axe towards your face. So don't, when you're felling a tree, never swing upwards. You're always coming down at a 45 degree or a little bit lighter. You can come in a little steeper, but it's not going to do much. This thing's solid. Open up the notch a bit. This tree is fairly straight, but I feel like it wants to fall this way. When this thing falls, it's pretty big, so I'm going to have to take cover that way or this way. And have a nice tree block. Start my notch higher, somewhere there. Oh, that was hard. So I thought the I had suspected that the tree was going to fall that way. So I've spent a really good amount of time felling this dead standing wood, this dead standing tree, and you can see, wow, this was a chore. It fell the opposite way I wanted it to, which is okay because I have planned for that to happen as well, just in case. But I had to buck through on this side too, with the saw pinching and everything, and it kind of sucked. So, but regardless, I ended up getting through it, and this thing is super heavy, but it's going to be my work log. So I'm just going to move it to the edge of my camp, start building my ridgepole and stuff. It's 2 o'clock right now. I got plenty of time to continue my shelter. So I have a support pole here to keep the ridge pole, up against the tree while I tie it to this tree. Probably want to go about shoulder height or so. That's pretty good. About shoulder height. Right where I want it. Probably going to reinforce it with some jute twine. Okay guys, well, here it is. My ridgepole is set up. I got 2 prop logs here and here to help bear some of the weight off the cordage. Because when you do a shelter like this, it needs to be able to bear a lot of weight. So this ridge can bear my whole weight. No problem, right? So now it's on to collecting all the poles that I need to make my lean-to shelter. I'm going to need quite a few of them, but there's quite a few out there. This is it so far of its entirety. You can see how far I extended the poles past the ridgepole to give me extra rain coverage. I angled it at about 60 degrees or so to shed the rain better. You can see some gaps in there, and I might chink it with moss, but I'm getting really tired. It's about 4:15 and I still got to fill in the sides, fill that gap in, and make a bit of a bed. So my ridge poles are finally up. Sorry, not my ridge poles, my roof poles are finally up. That was tough. I am so gassed after that. It's 4:30. I did a lot of work. I think that took 3 hours or something crazy. I'm gonna have to check it when I edit it. But I still need to fill in the sides, which don't matter as much, so I might just use some of the wood around here. I don't have to find nice straight poles. And I still have to make a bit of a bed. I need to take a break, and I'm getting low on water and stuff. So I'm gonna have a power bar, drink some water, take a, 15-minute break, fill in those side holes, and then I'm gonna have to collect some water, maybe some ground cover if I feel like it. After that, prepping firewood. Oh, the chores. I made it tough for myself this time. I didn't bring a tarp. I wanted to do an all-natural shelter, and I wanted to do the pole lean-to. It's not going to rain tonight, So chinking it with moss might not be necessary, which is good. Chinking, it just means filling in the gaps between the poles. So I don't think I have to worry about that too much. Well, I finally completed the bed. It's 6 o'clock, and all the pole work is done on the shelter. I'm just going to collect some water. I need to go back down to the stream. I'm on my last few sips here, and I'm gonna have to collect a lot more water. I also want to collect some huckleberry, maybe some ferns or some moss, just to make that bed a little nicer. I do have my bedroll, but I want to make it so my head is elevated a bit more. And it's just comfier to put those things down. I don't have the access to boughs right now, in the sense of spruce boughs and stuff. There's none to collect here. So I'm going to go down to the river, collect some water, and then I'm going to get some of the ground cover for my bed. And then we're going to make a fire, and then we're going to process wood, and then the day's never going to end. And it's going to be nighttime. I'm going to be exhausted. But it's fun. Down what I'm collecting for my bed. I'm just pruning these trees. I'm not chopping them down. So here's my little bundle. Just paracord wrapped it. Time to start making this bed a little more inviting. Build it up a little higher where my head is. There you go. Got my bedding up. Oh yeah. A few twigs poking in me. I could definitely do this if it needed to be, but I probably would have to collect, I'd say, at least 2 or 3 more batches for it to be a real nice comfy bed. But that's why I brought my bedroll. I just processed up a whole bunch of wood and I forgot to press play. I had some really nice shots in there too. Basically, I'm just splitting this up. It's pretty dry in the center, and I want to just try to get this broken up pretty quick. This technique works good for the smaller stuff. I prefer to stand it up and split it fully for anything bigger than this. So I got a good amount over here. Split this guy just for fun. Nice and easy. Keep going. How low can you go? That's too dangerous. Don't do that. So I'm just going to make some quick shavings with my axe and my knife. I'm going to try to light some of the twigs around me, so I probably won't need too much. Just using my knee pad to collect most of it. I'll pick up the rest. I find I get nice bigger shavings when I use my axe rather than my knife, which kind of gives it a different grade of shaving. So I got some coarse shavings, kind of like those ones. And then I'll make some finer shavings with my knife. Okay, my arm is starting to tire with the saw, with the axe, onto the knife. I'm just going to go quick here, guys. Get some really nice curls going. Not making feather sticks today, that's for sure. I'm just going to continue this and fight in time. So far, I've barely been winning. Just getting by. So, fatwood. I'm going to use quite a bit of this because I want to make sure that this thing lights pretty much first time. So I'm going to just make a few fat feathers. Keep thinking I hear people, but it's not. Maybe it's just my mind. Just kidding. It's a lot of fat wood. I got tons of it though, so it's all good. I got some twigs here. They feel dry. Things have dried out a little bit. 2 bundles of twigs, and then I got the shavings. Light more of the fat wood. Onto the shavings. The twigs. Some bigger twigs. Whew, smoky. Put these guys on top right away. stuff's a little damp. That's why it's spitting. So let me show you what I'm doing here. I fixed up a pot hanger here. I'm just making some of that, if you remember that pine needle that I picked up right at the beginning. I'm making some tea in here, and I already boiled my other water bottle over there. Just letting it cool down. I'm really thirsty, so I need to get some hydration going before I eat anything. It's kind of funny, but there's hardly a noise here. I haven't seen an animal. I haven't even seen the movement of squirrel. The only animals that I've seen today have been that fish in the river there. And besides that, I've heard some birds chirping, but it's been really dead for wildlife. It's very strange. Usually there's more than this. But I guess this forest just doesn't, it's not good for much wildlife. But it allowed me to build this pretty sweet shelter nonetheless. We have in here my pine needle tea. It's just going to be a nice little treat. Well, I got my bedroll up. I'll give you a turn around. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I got my bedroll out and boiled up some more water, and I'm just enjoying some of that pine needle tea. I've been collecting a bit of firewood. I got some logs going on, a bit of a fire lay. I must tell you, this pine needle tea feels rejuvenating. I haven't eaten dinner yet, and it's 9 o'clock, so there's a lot of chores to do today, and I managed to accomplish a lot. It's pretty good, but especially this tea. Well, it's 6:45 in the morning, and I'm just putting some water on so I can boil up some oats, have some breakfast. Oh, last night was uneventful and eventful at the same time. I started getting smoked out a little bit. The wind shifted directions and started blowing into my shelter a bit, and then I tried to make a bit of a debris wind barrier very quickly and use these logs just to deter the smoke from coming in. And the first attempt that I made it too close and I caught the thing on fire, creating a large amount of fire and tremendous amount of heat. So I had to maintain it, but that was okay. It gave me a lot of coals. And then around, I don't know, 2 in the morning to 3 in the morning, it got really cold. I'm actually wearing my rain gear right now. It's just started to warm up. I got up about an hour ago and I was shivering. I had to get up and just sit right by the fire and build the fire up because I was too cold to just lie in my shelter at that time. I have all my layers on me. I probably should have brought a sweatshirt or something as well. So that's something I can learn from for sure. So to my oats, I added some trail mix, a little bit of brown sugar, and then all of the huckleberries that I collected. Well, it's a time to go down back to the river and collect some water. I need to get water to put out the fire. I need to get water to boil some water for myself today and maybe do some cooking. So I'm just going down to my water source and I'm going to freshen up. So I only use baking soda when I come out here to freshen up. I use it for my toothpaste, my deodorant, my body wash, hair wash, whatever it is that needs to be washed, including pots and pans. It's an incredibly versatile kit and just makes you feel fresh takes the odor away, and you can use it, dump it in your shoes and all that stuff. So I basically just rinse off with that, and then I use one of those Mountain Dry towels from Mountain Equipment Co-op to towel myself off. Well, this is it, guys. This is going to be my last video. Last time I check in. Last time I come down to this river, collect water. I'm going to be putting out my fire now. And I've incredibly enjoyed myself, immensely enjoyed myself. I put in a lot of hard work yesterday building my shelter. Pretty much worked all day. The night was okay. Some rough sleeping, but overall I've really enjoyed myself out here. It's definitely a place I probably will come back to and maybe improve upon my shelter and just mess around out here, explore more. The river is very cool. So I'd like to explore maybe both ways, see what else is around here. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and please subscribe. This is Dave from BC Bushcraft.